Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas Zone 8A garden. And while I am a little late, we are going to be starting tomato seeds today along with pepper seeds and a variety of basil seeds. Now I'm a little bit behind getting the tomato seeds started. I've just been starting a bunch of other seeds, and typically tomatoes, peppers, those are not something that I put a lot of emphasis on, so they haven't been on my radar as of late. Y'all know how focused I am on flowers, but I do love to grow tomatoes and peppers within my garden. Now typically we start tomato seeds about 6 to 8 weeks prior to your last frost, and then you plant them out a couple to 2 to 3 weeks after the last frost occurs. You plant them out into the garden. So while I'm not that late, I am a little bit late. I know a lot of gardeners in my area already started their tomatoes and such pretty much around the middle of January, but I still feel confident about my approach. I'm not so far behind. I'm not so far behind that I'm going to go buy the plants at the garden centers. I don't know about y'all if you have been to your garden centers or big box stores as of late and you've seen the vegetable starts. They're very expensive this year. They've gone up by a couple of dollars. So like a tomato start was about $6, which I was like, that seems like quite a bit. I feel like the last time I saw them, they were like $4 something. Now they're over $6. So anyway, I'm excited to get started on my tomatoes. So let me show you the 3 varieties I'm going to start, and I'll show you my peppers and my basil, and then we'll go through the whole process together. Okay, so I'm going to be growing 2 varieties of tomatoes this year, which is less than I typically grow. But these are both new to me, and I'm kind of anxious, and I'm going to put a lot of focus on these 2. So the first one is from Baker Creek, and it is Indigo Blue Chocolate Tomato. And it is an indeterminate, and if you remember with tomatoes, an indeterminate means it can just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. The tomato vine will grow really far. A determinate means it has a specific height that it will grow to and it will stop at that point. This is an 80-day tomato, so that's still enough time. If I start now, it's still enough time for me to get some good tomatoes prior to our heat of the summer coming through. These are about 7 to 8 feet tall, typically for the tomato vine, and it says that they're 1 to 2 ounce tomatoes, and they have a good long shelf life, which sounds nice too. So we'll get those started. And then the second tomato that I'm really excited about is the orange hat tomato, and this is a little bitty, almost patio plant that I'm just pretty psyched about. It's an extra dwarf bush plant that just grows to 6 to 9 inches tall, so very small, but produces oodles of tiny orange orbs bursting with fruity sweetness. Perfect for growing indoors or on the patio, or an edible ornamental in beds, borders, and mixed plants. So this particular one was actually pretty pricey. It's 10 seeds. It was only 10 seeds for $5. I'm going to be starting all 10 seeds. And then this one was 10 seeds for $3.50, so a little bit less expensive. Now, both of these have the same germination rate of 7 to 14 days. They're going to want to be warmer, so I am going to have these on a heating mat because these are ideal about 75 to 95 degrees. So I do want these to be warmer. You guys have noticed all my other seeds I haven't had on heat mats, but for these, they do want a little bit warmer of a situation. The seeds are sowed to about 1/8 of an inch deep. So we'll get those started together. I'm also going to be starting some peppers. I'm not going to be starting a ton of plants for the peppers, probably just 2 of each. I don't need tons of pepper plants. In the past, my pepper plants have given me lots and lots of produce, and I don't have room to just do them everywhere. So the first one I'm starting is called Jigsaw. It's from Baker Creek. It's beautiful. The reason I actually chose this one is because it has multicolored tie-dyed patterns of lavender, cream, violet, seafoam, and forest green on the leaves. So I'm kind of psyched about the variegated, gorgeous leaves. It's a short, stocky plant, produces small, plum-colored fruit about as spicy as a jalapeno. Great in containers, borders, and beds. So nothing that's really giant. This is a 7 to 8 day germination rate, and it does need a warmer temperature as well. So I will make sure that this is on a heat mat. The next one is a hybrid sweet pepper called Escamillo. and it is yellow, I believe a yellow pepper. And this one has ripe fruit in about 60 days for green, and if you want them to be yellow, about 80 days. These definitely want a really warm soil temperature of about 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. But yeah, these are new to me this year. And then the other variety of pepper I'm growing is called a Jedi. And I literally bought it because my family loves Star Wars. So these are ripe at about 72 days and they'll be green at that point. And if you want to let them go to red, that'll be 82 days to get them to that point. These also love a really, really warm soil as well. So these are I'll be starting all of these. These will be in the same kind of setup with a dome and on a heat mat. Next, I'm starting a wide variety of basil, and these basil aren't just for culinary needs. A lot of this basil is actually for growing and cutting for my flower arrangements. My first variety is cardinal basil from Baker Creek, and I grew this last year and I'm obsessed with it. If you still have the opportunity, get some of this basil. It is amazing, especially if you love something like basil for cut flowers. It is tall. It kind of has like a purpley plume flower heads, which are just ridiculously beautiful. And it is a really bright, bold green. It has a really great kind of fresh yet spicy scent to it. And I started all mine from seedling last year and they were super easy to grow. These sprout in about 6 to 10 days. The other ones are about 7 to 14 days. I still think they'll do fine together. The other two varieties of basil I have are from M.I. Gardener. The first one is Purple Ruffles Basil, and this one is with all the purple ruffles leaves, and sometimes they almost look a little bit like tie-dyed, like splash between green and purple. And they also kind of have a little bit more of a frilly edge, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. These don't bolt super quick, which is really nice, so they don't flower super quick. I don't grow this particular basil for the flower. I grow it for the actual foliage. Okay, and then this last variety of basil is lemon basil, and this is actually the one that I like to use more often in kind of culinary pursuits because it has a lemony taste and it works really great with like chicken and salads, marinades, that kind of stuff. So it's really, really great for that one. With all basils, the important thing to remember is the more you kind of pinch on it in the beginning, the bushier you're going to make the plant and the more stems you're going to get specifically for cut flowers. So that's a really important quality to remember when you're starting all these seeds. Okay, so we're going to start by mixing up some soil. This is my fold out soil mixing tray. And it's held up really good so far. I've really enjoyed it. If you're interested, it's on my Amazon storefront, and there's a link to that in the description of this video. So what I'm going to mix up is about 2/3. Actually, I think I'm just going to do all seed starting mix today because I'm going to actually be using little containers. Originally, I was thinking that I was going to start with larger containers, but I changed my mind. Just because of sheer space. I've done really, really well at my seed starting this year, which I'm so proud of myself, but I'm running out of room like crazy. It's been pretty intense. And so, yeah, I'm running out of room very quickly. So I've got my seed starting mix. This is just Jiffy. I typically get it from either Lowe's or Home Depot. So I'm going to add water and get this nice and moist and mixed up. We have a very rainy day today in North Texas, which is glorious. Between all the melting ice and all the rain, I've been wanting to get outside for some projects, and I just can't because it's so wet. And it's been really hard to get out there without everything being a hot mess. I have several projects I want to work on. There's a couple of back garden beds that need to be cleaned out, and I have some plants that need to be moved within those, and then they need to be prepped for stuff I have coming. One of them is going to be prepped for stuff I have coming at the beginning of April, and then the other one needs to be prepped for a bunch of these new seedlings that I'm starting. Okay, so I was out of seed trays, and the ones I ordered from Amazon aren't here yet, so I ended up picking up this Jiffy seed starting greenhouse kit so I could go ahead and get it started. It's basically your standard tray, plastic lid, and then inside it has these sets for your seeds. The little kind of, I don't know, these are like usually biodegradable little kind of peat, not peat pods, but just little containers. So basically I'm just coming in here. I'm not pushing the soil down like a huge amount. I don't want it too tight, so I want it to be soft for the seedling. So I do like how these are all divided into sets of 10. I think that's great. I'm going to start all of these in the same container because they all need the heat to get started, and they all have relatively the same rate of germination. Okay, so here's the seed tray, and I'll just feed each of these back in here. This is not typically something I would use or do. It just happens that my regular order is in, but I thought this looked good. I think it was worth trying, and this is something that's available to most people at a big box store. So I think it's relevant to try it and see, because this is what a lot of people are working with at home, which I think is fun. I mean, this is not a bad situation. Look how great that looks. That's 50 little seed cells in there, which is great. And I just happen to be planting stuff where all of it works together within the same tray. So you do need to remember that when you are trying to germinate seeds, you want to put like levels of germination together, right? You want to have them germinating at about the same length of time, and you want them germinating at the same kind of heat range, right? And these do need to be warmer to germinate for the basil, the peppers, and the tomatoes. Okay, and as you know, while I'm seeding, I like to work with a chopstick. I think they work really, really good. So we'll start with the orange hat, and these need to be about 1/8 of an inch deep. And I'm gonna make 10 of them. So I'm just gonna make a little bit of a hole indentation on this first set. And I'm gonna put a single seed in each. Typically I would do 2 seeds in each, but since I only have 10 of these seeds, I don't want to waste the potential for any particular seedling. Now, I will say they said they gave me 10. There's probably 20 seeds in here, so I am going to do 2 in some of these. And then I'll just use my chopstick to lightly cover them. Let's do the indigo blue chocolate next. I'm just going to do 5 rows of that one. I just did the jigsaw. I got that confused. The jigsaw is the variegated one. Woo! Okay, the Escamillo is the yellow one. And then we're going to just do 3 cells of that one. And then I'm going to do 2 of the Jedi, which is the hot pepper. Okay, then going on to the basil. I want to start a lot of the cardinal basil. Let me see how many seeds I have, because this is my same packet from last year. Oh, I still have quite a few. I think I'm going to start 10 of these. These are sown 1/4 of an inch deep. One thing that's hard about basil seeds is they're tiny and they're dark, so it's really hard to see them in the soil. So I'll put a couple of seeds in each of these. Get those covered up. Hopefully they made it in the hole. It's really hard to tell when the seed is so small and so dark next to the soil. All right, next I'm going to do purple ruffles, and I think what I'll do is I'll split this. I have 15 left, so maybe I'll do 8 of the purple ruffles and 7 of the lemon basil. Okay, the next step is to mist everything really well. Let's soak these down really well. I love these mister bottles because they don't disturb the soil or seeds, which I think is really great. All right, let's put a lid on it. All right, so this is one of the things I don't love. The lid doesn't fit really tight. It's fine for what it is. I needed to get these in today, and my other seed trays aren't here, so it is what it is. All right, so next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little rearranging over here and get a heat mat set up. Okay, so I've got them set up here, easy to see. I've got a propagation mat under here, a heat mat. If you're looking for a heat mat, I will link those in my Amazon storefront. I've had these for 3 years. They've held up really, really well. Other seedlings, everybody's looking really good. I'm going to start hardening some of these off and bringing them outside. Here's my delphinium that has started germinating in several of the containers. Some back there, some there, and then this is my Bells of Ireland, and there's nothing going on in here in the Bells of Ireland. Y'all let me know if you have thoughts on Bells of Ireland. I haven't had issues before, but apparently today we're having issues. Dianthus are still doing really, really well. Everybody's up and looking good. These over here are my petunias and pansies, looking really good. Violas. I went and covered the violas like y'all said, the seeds. I haven't seen any action, but I don't think it's been long enough for them to pop up once they've been covered. Those are looking really nice too. Looking good. Okay, thanks for joining me to get all these seeds planted. Another seedling video I do have coming up is I'm going to be showing you how I harden off my seedlings, basically the scheduling I kind of go through, where I put them outside, that kind of situation. And an additional video I have coming up is my ranunculus and anemones, getting those planted outside because they have sprouted, which I'm really excited about. I'll take that back. The ranunculus have all sprouted and are looking good. Some of the anemones have sprouted and half the anemones have probably rotted and molded at this point. So we'll see. But I do need to prep the bed that they're all going to go in, and so that will be an upcoming video as well. All right, you all, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you check me out on my community tab under my She's a Mad Gardener YouTube page, or you can also check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.